I'm the person who I guess created this shop. I don't really earn much from it in terms of money, but I gain an awful lot in terms of knowledge and experience and meeting very interesting people. My name is Trevor. I came here in 1976 and I lived in a few places before. And I guess opportunity for a place to sell things. Always liked the idea of visiting Liverpool. But I never planned to stay here and I never planned for this to be most of my life. It started a long time ago on a market in Birmingham in 1976. And then a little later in that year, moved to Liverpool, and then at the end of that year to this particular street in Liverpool where I've been ever since, and in this shop since 1988.
When I was at school, I didn't like history at all, and then come into this job and it's all about history. So now I love history.
I think the history of the people all over the world is very, very interesting. In some ways it's the same history. Much more the same than what people realize, and at the same time every place, like every person, is completely unique. Originally the interest in Chinese things was in order to actually balance the books and make a profit, but in the process, even though I've never made that money, I've learned a lot and I've come to love Chinese art and history. I've focused on Chinese things for the last 16 years. And at one time I came to understand that in order to succeed in any area or become knowledgeable, successful, accomplished in any area in life, apparently you need to do it intensively for at least 10 years or 10,000 hours with enthusiasm. Over here is something which was particularly interesting because this job has been an education for me in many ways. And often when I buy things, I don't know what they are. We have these two figures here, which I bought a few months ago from an antique shop. And the guy who was selling them thought they were from Japan and perhaps 100 years old. I guess because the faces look a little bit like the Japanese actors, but they've got a very long and interesting history. Now, fortunately, I was able to identify them from something else which I already have, and that is if you compare the faces, their expressions. This figure here is from the late 15th, early 16th, the late 16th, early 17th century, towards the end of the Ming dynasty, and it is a guardian figure. This is wearing virtually identical costume, which means it's going to be of the same age, and with very, very similar facial expression. It took a while to identify, and even though these things are damaged, it doesn't depreciate from their interest value, even if it affects their financial value. These are two Chinese figures, also from the Han Dynasty, 1800 to 2200 years old. This one I particularly like because the horse's head is beautiful, and the rider, it's still possible to see the pattern on the textiles on the stockings that he's wearing with some of the original paints. And that's it. Every place in the world is full of the same mixture of beautiful and horrible and lovely and frustrating, but Liverpool has a sort of energy which I do like. The energy isn't always positive, which I don't like, and I guess there are many places in the world that are similar, but yeah, I'm comfortable here, but other parts of me are much more comfortable in a quiet place where there is no one. So even though I enjoy interacting with people, it's nice to have our own space. So here, even though I'm in the middle of town, I have no neighbours, and that is nice. Now, Lady is my daughter. Her name is Shaman Nana Lee Doswell. Now, Lady is an African word which means star in the sky, often morning star. She is now just more than 2 years old. She is the star in my sky, but more than that, she is very, very important. More important than anything. We're going to Freshfields. Sometimes by myself, sometimes with friends, sometimes with family. Many times just with Naledi. Because she is with me on Mondays and usually we go to places. But happiness is something I feel more now than I used to feel, because I'm more comfortable inside myself. I understand more. And also I have people around me who are able to support me in all sorts of ways. People I know well. Lucky for my mother, who's been amazing, who's a wonderful, wonderful person. Lucky for my daughter, who is just an amazing child. Lucky for my daughter's mother, Ning, who is a wonderful friend. So, for my son, for my friends like Sandy, and so many friends, I am very lucky. And the people who work with me in the shop as well, of course. And many come whose parents used to come to the shop, and many come whose grandchildren come to the shop now, and they came when they were children. So yeah, it's a part of the local community in many ways, I suppose. So.